Good afternoon and welcome. Nice to see all of you. My name is Reverend Trish Mackey, and this is
Barb Ryan.
And we are here to celebrate the life and to honor the life of a dearly loved person in our lives, either by family or by friend. And Leonard, would you like to come up with us right now, please? Okay. So just welcome everyone for being here, the family, and here's the mic. Use the mic.
Thank you. This is a great occasion today. I only knew her for just one little moment in her lifetime. So what welcome. I'm getting off on a speech here. So.
Well, you know what? It's okay because there's no way to do something wrong when you're honoring someone
Well,
who's meant
thank
so
you,
much to you
Mom.
in your life.
You
okay?
told me to do things wrong all the time.
You do everything right. Okay. Just again, thank him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thank you for the time that you took to be here today. She was a great person. She was greater than great. Man, she beat the hell out of me.
Okay, sweetheart.
Okay,
If you want
she's
to.
beating me. Hit me.
I'm older, that's why. Can do that. No. About our ritual.
Okay. So for the beginning of this ritual, and everybody can hear me? Okay, thank you. Ishel is going to come up and do a ceremony for us that Toni would absolutely love. And she'll explain a little bit more about what she's going to do. And one of the things that I want to say is that Toni was a yoga not student practitioner most of her life. And in the last couple of years, just before she passed, she had gotten her yoga certification, and it was really important to her as a teacher, a certified yoga teacher. And she taught a lot of people individually. She didn't really start up a class yet, but she practiced everyday yoga a lot. And Isha and Toni were really close, and so the ceremony will start with Isha doing a ceremony for us all, and we'll go from there. Okay. Oh, and the choir, just before the ceremony, this is part of Singing Heart Choir, and Toni and I were at a benefit for called Cornucopia 5 years ago or so, and Toni had told me that she loves singing, but she had some apprehension for singing in a choir. And I said, have I got the choir for do Carly came up to our table and said, do you want to sing in a choir? It was just one of these serendipitous, miraculous things. Toni and I joined the choir. Toni was able to sing in it for 3 or 4 years before she passed, and Carly was a great influence. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment as Carly and Singing Heart lead you in song. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. So I want to invite you to sing with us. Part of Singing Heart is bringing songs that we can all sing, and we're all here to celebrate Toni. So I want to sing for her together as a community. And so I'll just start, and you can respond back to me when I put my hands out. You are so loved. You are so loved. Now sing that with me. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. That part. You are so loved. You are so loved. All together. Melody. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. Once for Toni. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. And once for Leonard. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. And the rest of the family and closest friends. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. And for everyone who's here and not here who loves Toni still, you are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. Once more for all the ways she lives on. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. You are so loved. Thank you.
Thank you, Carly and Singing Heart. And thank you, everybody, for singing along and bringing some celebration to it.
For those of you who have been to memorials before, and I'm sure that all of us have at least one or two where we've attended, and the thing that we first hear is about the what I call the statistics. You know, when they were born, when they made their transition, sisters, brothers, and all of that, and I agree that that is really important. And so what I'm going to do is to share that with you right here. And then we'll go a little bit further with it, because those kind of things really don't say who a person is. They say what a person's done, what has been their choices along the way, but not who they are. So Toni Frazier was born April 7th in 1943 in Chicago, and she made her transition on February 28th, 2020. She had 5 siblings growing up. She had 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and was preceded in her death by her father, Louis, and her brothers, 2 of her brothers, by Greg and Michael. Always a portion of a story, but never the whole story. Because she leaves behind a spouse, Leonard, 2 children, 8 grandchildren, and 11 great-grandchildren. She has 2 sisters, Robin and Tracy, that are still with us, and her mother, Stacy, her mother, Maddie, and 1 brother, Ronnie. As I said, I call those statistics. I call those what you're born into, how your family life looks. But in reality, it's such a minute piece of information about any one person. And especially for a person who did many, many, many things along the way. Many. We have allowed time for people to be able to get up and do a short sharing. Notice I said short because of the fact that we all have so many stories about her, little fun things to remember. But we will have time also to share them when we are back at celebrating after this memorial, and sharing over food and refreshments, which was one of Toni's most favorite things to do, was to enjoy things socially and sharing, breaking bread. There was such a list that even her daughter, Taza, was surprised at how much was on a resume that she had filled out. That's what we went by. So I'm just going to give you a brief snapshot of her life. First of all, I want you to know that she graduated from high school at 16 and graduated from college at 20. She was always a person with a brilliantly curious mind. She always, from my point of view, loved seeing corners. You know what that means, seeing a corner? Because it's always someplace to go toward to see what's around it on the other side, because she didn't want to miss a thing. Not a thing. And isn't that what life is all about? Being there, opening yourself up, and allowing yourself to be with that air of excitement, with that in-breath to say, wow, what's next? What's next? She seemed to focus on a lot with substance abuse. She was a counselor. She was a parole agent. She was a corrections counselor and a corrections sergeant. She was an editor for PBS KLRN. She was an educator. She was a public information writer. She got her yoga certificate, was a longtime practitioner, and of course involved in the wonderful choir that we just heard, the Singing Hearts. Thank you so much. You know, sometimes it's, as I want to share with you that as we were putting this together this past week and talking about what was it Toni would have liked and how do we want to share it and such, Toni gave us a lot of hints and told us directions and poems and things that she would like. They just kind of showed up out of the blue, so I just want you to know to just relax because Toni's still in charge. That's all I want to tell you. She's still in charge. She's still there for you to go to turn to for anything that you would have turned to her if she was here in form. Because form is only that. It's just a vehicle. It's just a vessel. And in reality, it's who you are that's inside of that vessel and what you do with what you've been given and how you give it and the difference that you make in people's lives. I'm sure that if we had time and people had been able to write in letters about little episodes they had shared with her, that we would have been here quite a while just reading. I'm so grateful for from learning this from her, for being with her, for her sharing her time. Someone said to me the other day that during this week that I loved, and I hadn't really thought about it until it was mentioned, and perhaps you're this kind of person, or you are the person that she selected, because the statement was, Toni chose her friends. She didn't wait for them to choose her. And I love that. I just love that. A piece of something that I had never thought about before. But how amazing that is. So many times we sit back and we wait. We want to be friends with someone, but we wait for them to make the first move. And yet Toni was the one who always just walked right up to you. And I happen to be the recipient of that particular thing. One day in church on a Sunday, she walked up to me and she said, and I was the assistant minister at that time. She said, do you have to be here at Christmas time? Because we were talking, it was December. Do you have to be here at Christmas time to do something here at the church? And I said, no. She said, well, my folks have a timeshare in Hawaii. Would you like to go? Now, I'd known Toni, but I wasn't a close friend. And I was really surprised that she had asked me to go. Well, as it turned out, we weren't able to really go till February, but when we went, it was absolutely perfect. And we got to be very, very close after that. But then after saying that, it was so wonderful to hear that. We've had a little bit of difficulty with the photos, but it looks like we may have some showing to show you some pictures to just laugh and remember. And also we will provide time for you again, as I said, just to come up and share a brief little story about it. Why don't you just enjoy those photos? And then after that, we'll invite you up to share your own stories. She already did it. That's Tony's lovely daughter. Does anyone know the story of how she got her name? How she named her that? Do you know? Taza. No? Do you want to come up and tell us that story? I just think it's a lovely name, and you can tell whatever else you want to share. I know. Go ahead. You look just like her. Is this one on? Or you can come over here and stand, whichever. Want to lean on something.
So, Teza, it's for today's a good day. Yeah, that's,
Isn't that wonderful?
yeah, something
She's
to,
your mother, right?
she's my mom, yeah.
Yeah. Who is not feeling well now.
No, she's not feeling well. She's sorry she could not make it. Yeah.
And your sister is?
My sister just moved to Florida, so she's not here. And then I have my kids here and the crazy 2-year-old that's running around somewhere. Yeah.
And your name?
My name's Felicia.
Felicia, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
They were the most beautiful twins I'd ever seen. I never could keep them. I could never tell them apart, though. Thank you. Who else would like to come up and tell a story or an experience? I know we all have them. We'll think about them later, so. Barb, do you want to say something? We can't hear you, though, and it's not recorded we're recording for the family, Jeannie, so we'd appreciate it if you would, hon. Here, hon.
I want to remember Tony's laugh. I hear it all the time. And we had a little knitting. I can't believe I'm so choked up, but you know, that's love sometimes. It sits right there. We had a little knit and crochet circle here. And Toni was so wonderful. She was not real confident about learning to crochet, but when you mentioned the turning the corner thing, I thought of Toni. She went at it. She went at it tenderly and carefully, not overconfidently, but went ahead and I always felt her presence there, like her saying, it's not what I do or how I do, it's the fact that I am doing, and I am here with you. And then her laugh and collard greens. For some reason, we got a kick out of collard greens. She said she had a neighbor who was growing this beautiful, beautiful crop of collard greens. And I said, oh, Toni, I could picture her flying over it like some kind of a hawk. And I said, we'll have to go over there at midnight and raid the garden. And we got a laugh out of that. And then I went over to that fancy store, Natural Grocers or whatever, and got collard greens and cooked them up. And it's just a little thing. The way she shared, it seemed to be such a small thing, but it's so lasting. I hear her laugh. Thank you, Leonard.
Yeah. Don't be shy. Come on.
I don't have a lot to say, but what I would like to say is that I worked with Toni on her computer. I was a computer person, and we spent many hours working on that computer. And when she was going through her yoga classes, I think is when we first started, and then after that, and I got to meet most of her family. I mean, they'd be in and out, and she'd always be busy and have to go to tend to this and tend to that, and then she'd come back, but she was just a joy to know, and I'm still in shock that she's not here. So, anyway, I will always remember her. She's always in my heart. Oh, my name is Helen Lucas. So
Thank you, Helen.
yeah.
And if you're more comfortable coming up with somebody, you can come up with somebody too.
This my feet hurt.
Hi, Robert. I'm glad you came up.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I have a short, it's Robert. I have a short story of something funny about that happened with her. She was the kind of person who was always looking for the good in people and always happy to see you and look, recognizing people's gifts. So we had a lot of interesting conversations because she was super intelligent and I'm pretty intelligent. We had a lot of really good conversations and we really appreciated each other. One day I was walking down the street on Coburg Road, you know what I'm going to say? And I walked by Buddy's Diner and she was in there having lunch, had her hamburger or whatever, and she saw me walking down the street and she was so happy to see me that she got up, left her food there, left her purse there, and ran down the street to catch me so she could say hi to me. So, and then Leonard has some qualities that are similar. When I first met Leonard, he didn't know me at all, but he acted like he'd known me forever and so friendly. And that was something they had in common. They were both very friendly and very outgoing, looking to help people, being very generous. They made a good match. Both very nice people. That was it. That was the story. Thanks.
Thank you, Robert. It's good to see you. Hi, my dear.
Hi, good to see you. What I recall is her calmness and her confidence. I went to a Brighton Bush retreat, actually it was Isha's birthday, and I got to know her a little bit before. And what I was just, she had the gift of calmness that I don't have. I'm getting there, I'm working on it, but she inspires me a lot, and that's why I'm here. And Leonard and my husband had a lot in common, so that was really cool. John Pagter, yeah. Yeah, well, we've changed, we're evolving. Yeah, it's all okay. We're very happy to be alive. We're back from Mexico, and yeah, I'm glad that I heard through the grapevine that you were having this celebration, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla.
I guess one thing I remember from her is I always went to her house every weekend. I guess she taught me to be wise, I guess.
And what's your name? What is it?
Jordan.
Jordan? Thank you, Jordan.
I could say a couple more things about my relationship with Toni, and I met her here at the Center for Spiritual Living, and three things that we really, well, maybe 4 or 5, there was a few things we really had in common, but in the beginning it was books and it was grandchildren, and then it also became choir, and then it became so much of our lives. But she was working in the library in the other room, stacking books or something, and I came in and talked to her about it. And I had just gotten 3 of my grandkids living with me, and she said, let's talk. And we sat down and talked about what it's like to have big families and be grandmas and really be there for your kids. And her grands and my grands were like the same age, and they got to know each other and hang out, and we'd pick up each other's kids. And well, we'd send Leonard to pick up the kids, and he'd always fit the extra ones in the van that he had. And our families really mushed together in a wonderful way, and I always have those memories. And it's good to see Tim here, and oh, he's not there right now. Anyway, one of the other ones who was sitting next to him a moment ago. So I just wanted to bring that part forward. She was a great help to me because I was pretty new to having my grandkids live with me at that time. And she showed me what a joy it could be and how to manage time and kids and rides and all of that. And then she and I joined the choir together, and you already heard what that was like. So thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Is there anyone else who'd like to share? I was waiting for you.
Nobody has said anything about her style. But Toni was elegance embodied. I mean, and that's the thing, like, it's not just her surface style. She wore it inside and out.
Thank you, Kaylee. I told you that I had ended up on a trip to Hawaii because of the invitation I received from Toni, but I want to tell you a little bit more about what I found out about Toni while we were gone. One is that she lived on an organic farm and was like a commune, and where they really had to raise all of their food. They had to do all the gardening. They were doing all the building of the outbuildings and the places to live and all of that. So she was a really, really physically hard worker too. Because I kept thinking, I'm willing to help. I just don't know that I have the endurance to do that. But it never stopped her. It didn't matter how big it was or how little it was. It still did not seem to phase her. It's just like, we can do this, with that calmness that she had. Well, I learned that at one time she was with a band, and she sang with this band, and it was in the hippie days, some of the memories that and the excitement she had in that particular part of the century. But what I found out was, as she took me on a trip one day while we were there, up and around to the top of the island to go and visit Ram Dass. Now, for those of you who know who that was, I think, and if you don't, and you're impressed. If you don't know who he is, be impressed. Because this is a man who has made a huge difference in society and the way that a lot of us think. So we're in the town where he's at. We go into the jewelry store there, the little gift shop, and we begin to talk. And of course, one of the things I've always known about being around Toni was that no one ever saw me when I was with her. She just stood out. It was like you said, the clothes that she wore on the outside were really a strong reflection of who she was on the inside. And at the same time, it was her whole appearance with, never knowing what color her hair was going to be or how many colors it was going to be at one time. I just love that. I used to love on Sunday to come and go, I wonder what Toni's going to look like today. Sort of that kind of a feeling. So we find out where he lives. We find out what his schedule is that every day, every morning between this time and this time. The aides that take care of him took him down to the beach and in a wheelchair, and then they helped him in the water, and he swam around in the water, and then he returned back. So we go and we find the house. And she said, well, I'm going to go knock on the door. And I said, because we tried to call and nobody would answer. And I said, well, do you think we really ought to do that? I mean, he's been ill and things like that. No, we need to do this. We need to do that. I know he'll remember me. I know he'll remember me. And I said, oh, no doubt about that. I was sure that was going to happen. So I said, I'll wait for you in the car. And so she goes up and knocks on the door, but I can see her, and the door opens, and a young guy comes to the door, and he's talking to her, and he's going like this, and she's talking, and she's going like this, and he's going, and she's going like this. And I started to laugh, and I thought, this is one argument you are not going to win, buddy. I can tell you that right now. You've already lost it. As soon as you open the door, you lost this one. So she turns around, and she waves at me. I get out of the car. We go in. The young man goes down the hallway, and we wait a few minutes, and he brings Ram Dass down in a wheelchair, and he sees her, and he goes, oh, my God, Toni. That was the biggest gift that I could have received. Was one, I was so happy for her that he remembered her, that their relationship was so strong, and she made such an impression on him, because he always makes impression on other people. And then I got to be part of that, and it was an amazing event for me to experience. So we stayed about 45 minutes, and we had tea. And then we left, and 3 weeks later, Ram Dass passed. So we always felt it was it was a perfect completion to it. So I owe her lots and lots of memories and things we're going to do. Barb, would you like to come up and introduce the choir again? We're ready to right there.
Okay. So it is my pleasure to introduce Carly Loveling and Singing Heart, singing a song again. And it's not performance art, they include you. It's call and response. So, and this is a choir, as you've heard, that Toni was also a part of for a few years and loved very much.
And some of them have never heard this song, so they're right there with you. I'll invite you to sing again. I will carry you always in my heart. Let's sing that. I will carry you always in my heart. I will carry you always in my heart. All life is a circle, and we are all together. All life is a circle, and we are all together, like stones dropped in the water that ripples on forever. Like stones dropped in the water that ripples on forever. All life is a circle. We are all together, and we are all together. Like stones dropped in the water that ripples on forever. I will carry you always in my heart. I will carry you always in my heart. All life is a circle. All life is a circle, and we are all together, like stones dropped in the water that ripples on forever. I will carry you always in my heart. I will carry you always in my heart. I will carry my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Carly and Singing Heart. Here we go. Wow. So this is a poem by Maya Angelou called I've Learned. I've learned that no matter what happens or how bad it seems today, life does go on and it will be better tomorrow. I've learned that you can tell a lot about a person by the way he or she handles these three things: a rainy day, lost luggage, and tangled Christmas tree lights. I've learned that regardless of your relationship with your parents, you'll miss them when they're gone from this life. I've learned that making a living is not the same as making a life. I've learned that life sometimes gives you a second chance. I've learned that you shouldn't go through life with a catcher's mitt on both hands. You need to be able to throw something back. I've learned that whenever I decide something with an open heart, I usually make the right decision. I've learned that even when I have pains, I don't have to be one. I've learned that every day you should reach out and touch someone. People love a warm hug or just a friendly pat on the back. I've learned that I still have a lot to learn. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Dedicated to Toni and how she made us all feel, what she left us with that. So, thank you.
Do you want to share the location?
Maybe.
I think I have it written here. Now let's invite Leonard up.
Yeah.
Leonard, you want to come up?
Yeah. The guy with that.
And you're bringing your toy with you?
Absolutely, it's a gift to you.
Thank you.
Tell people about the
What?
continuation of the party.
Oh, okay. Before I get into the sobbing stage, let's go here. Everyone's welcome. This will continue at Toni's house. It is 3368 Chaucer Way. I'll even give directions. 18th west of Chambers. You go to Hawkins, you go up the hill, turn on Park Lane, then you turn left on the first street. It says something other than Chaucer Way there. I've lived there a couple of days, so you'd think I'd know, but I'm not certain of that. But it's a gray house. There's a bunch. It's on the left side. There is magicians that have helped with this service. This is the leader of the magicians that have helped with this event and with the event that is happening at our house. And please come. You know, you're welcome. You're always welcome. Okay, where do I go?
You can stay there and talk more, or you can sit down.
Okay. Give me a chair. I'll talk sitting down.
Excuse me.
Toni and I met at the Center of Spiritual Living in Visalia, California. She was a practitioner in training at that time when we met. And we'd go on trips. We'd go to the coast. It was about approximate amount of time it was from Florence and such as that. I had a car that was gifted to me, and there's a backstory to that. And driving the avenue in this city, Moorhead. What the hell is the name of this city? Anyway, we would get lost in time. It was as though we were in a spaceship, just gliding. And the officer didn't like it sometimes, but And so we'd continue over, and we'd do the fish and chips and the wine. She would. I'd have beer. And beautiful time that we would have together. But it also enhanced because she was good arm candy. Yeah. So, and then we'd come home, and I'd go to work, and she'd go to work. And one day, while I was attending the center there in Visalia, a Sunday, as I recall, I said, "Hey, I want to talk to you." So she said, "Okay, I'll get back to you." So 6 months went by, and she said, "Well, what do you want to talk about?" It's like, what the hell is that, And so I said, "I'd like to know you better than what I do now." And so we went out to dinner. She never did go for this inexpensive stuff, bologna sandwiches and stuff, and which I liked, I like that. In a real quick moment, I give it away. But we begin to grow spiritually deeper together, and it was my life continued, and it changed. And sometimes, figuratively, I would run away because I couldn't believe that such a gift as someone like Toni. I have a 13-year education, high school and a year in college. Here she has 85 years and very intelligent in all of it. So anyway, as it progressed, we got married, and this is the minister that said the vows, and we got married on April the 15th, leap year. We were married 4 years, so that was the shortest marriage, the shortest time I dated a lady, because it was really only 1 year on the calendar, And so eventually we moved here to Oregon, and I met her family. It was a great gift meeting the family. Sometimes challenging, but also I was a challenge too. And I've grown to be a greater person, greater compassion for people. I am so blessed. So Anyway, Toni took several classes, went in Brighton Bush, learning, earning different aspects of yoga. She took knitting. Who was that? That crocheting, and it's like, whoa, and so. I'm done. I'm running out of stuff. Oh, wait a minute. I got a note. You told me to take notes. Let's see what notes I took. I can find them. There's that one. Gary, do you recognize that? And 2 Band-Aids that I didn't know I had. But anyway, she was a great cook. I have a recipe for, I forget what it is, in here. Which pocket is it? But whatever she did it professionally. And as it was mentioned, she was very friendly. And I miss her. I miss her deeply. But I still laugh. Thank you.
It has been our pleasure, Barbara and I, to have been helping with this and putting this together. And we were going to have a wonderful closing ceremony as well. And after that, you are invited to talk out into the entryway and then to come to the house and continue our conversation and stories. I know for some of you who didn't feel comfortable in getting up over food and beverages, I think it's a little bit easier sometimes. So, yeah. What, hon?
Do I have Mom's permission?
To do what? Of course, dear. Of course. But we can't hear you down there. That's it, if you want everyone to hear, because remember, we're filming.
Oh, okay. I would like for you, and I mean this sincerely, please, come to Toni's house. I want to know the moments. I want to know the moments that you knew Toni. And so please come and talk to me. Pull me aside. Give your address again, Leonard, that way 30. You can put it in the phone. Okay. 3368 Chaucer Way, Eugene, Oregon. Please come. Good to see you, Rocky.
We'll look forward to seeing everybody. Yeah. Okay, do you want to? So, and you haven't spoken, so you may do that.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Michelle, and I am still friends with Toni. When you first arrived, you were offered this little box and asked to put 2 stones in the palm of your hand. And I'd like for you to take those stones out of your pocket now, if you will. One of those stones will be for you to keep after we do the prayer And this second stone, we ask that you would return to this little box. And Dale will be at the back of the room as people are leaving. If you would put one stone inside, and this will be returned to the family. The idea of this is to imbue with your love, with your feeling, a prayer in your heart of your words. Let's see. The ladies were talking about how Toni and I had yoga together. We studied the philosophy of Buddhism together, the philosophy of Hinduism. So we argued about the Bhagavad Gita and discussed at length about how Buddhism isn't so much a religion as it is a recognizing the purity of all of us in our hearts. And so when I proceed with the prayer of the Medicine Buddha, that will be an opportunity for you to sort of exercise the healing of your heart. We all know that healing and grief is all about love and the love that we feel. So taking that and sharing that into this stone. The first stone, as I said, if you would return it to Dale. And the second stone, if you would take that and plant it. One of the songs that we heard was from the choir about how you drop a stone in water and it ripples outward. But stones plant and they share with us the whole world, the love that you have here in your heart and that you're sharing with all of the world now. So I'm going to pass this to Dale. Dale, if you want to come up here. And if you just take two stones, the two stones that you had, and put them in the palm of your hand and close your hand over these stones and hold them up to your heart with your right hand. Okay, here you go, Dale. I would also invite you to close your eyes, to visualize yourself surrounded by the color blue. This isn't so much a manifestation of something outside of yourself, because of course we've all seen the picture of the Medicine Buddha. This is an emanation from the healing of your heart. Some people think that love is red. I think love is blue. Tathiyata Vekonze, Vekonze, Ma, Vekonze, Vekonze, Raja, Samud, Gate, Soha. Tathiyata Vekonze, Vekonze, Ma, Vekonze, Vekonze, Raja, Samud, Gate, Soha. Tathiyata Vekonze, Vekonze, Raja, Vekonze, Vekonze, Raja, Samud, got there. So
And that concludes our time together for this memorial for our wonderful friend and family member who loved us and who we all loved. Thank you so much for being part of it. Namaste. It was beautiful, wasn't it? I loved what she did.
Yeah.
Can I take this copy?
Oh, please do.
I don't have the whole thing.
Please
Thank
do.
you.
Yep. Because I printed off my printer. I made it bigger and printed it out.
So sorry your mom